And now we're gonna make a super simple mushroom dish that really works with any kind of mushroom. Today I'm gonna be using morel mushrooms. So we're gonna start off by trimming off the bottoms of our morels. And then we wanna brush away any dirt or foreign matter that might be on the mushrooms. And with morel mushrooms, you also wanna check and make sure that there's no wormholes inside, and you do that by looking at the stem, and you can see if any worms entered inside of the morels. So now that we have our mushrooms clean, what we wanna do, because as you can see, morels come in a lot of different sizes, and so we wanna give them uniformity so that they cook at the same rate. So we're just gonna take our smaller morels, cut them in half, and maybe on the bigger morels, we're gonna cut them into quarters. And you don't really have to be too anal retentive about this. It's all good at the end of the day. So with your garlic, you're just gonna take a clove, just mash it with a knife. And once again, you don't really have to be too careful about the size. We're just gonna rough chop it. All right, and that's good. These pieces will all cook and they're gonna be nice and crispy and golden brown. And then we're gonna take our onion and just peel it really quick. And I like to save the onion peels for making chicken stock. There's a lot of great flavor in them. And then we're just gonna chop it finely. So not a big deal. Make sure you keep your fingers tucked in. You don't want to cut them off. All right. We're going to saute our onion and garlic in a little bit of olive oil and butter. Then we're going to add our mushrooms and some chopped herbs. And I like to use, you can use whatever herbs you like. I like to use thyme, a little bit of fresh rosemary out of my garden. Parsley is always nice. So we're just going to pull off a little bit of herbs right there, bunch them up with your fingers, and then just rough chop them. And they just give a wonderful flavor to the mushrooms, to the sauteed mushrooms. That's it. Now we're gonna bring this over to the stove and start cooking. Okay, so now we're gonna add just a little bit of olive oil, about 1 tablespoon, a little pat of butter, enough to scare your cardiologist. And you just wanna let this melt in the pan and get nice and hot. So while it's melting, we're gonna push in our garlic, then also our chopped onions. We're just gonna let this cook till the garlic starts turning slightly amber colored. So now if you look in the pan, the garlic's starting to turn slightly amber. You don't wanna cook it too much because garlic gets bitter as the longer you cook it. So now we're gonna drop in our morel mushrooms. And with morels in particular, it's really important that you fully cook them. They have a little bit of a toxin in them that gets cooked off. You never really wanna eat a raw morel mushroom. And so I'm gonna add just a little bit more butter. A little touch more of olive oil. It's gonna keep it nice and juicy and give it a great flavor. And then to this, we're gonna add a little bit of salt. Just to give it some good flavor there. And a little touch of black pepper. Just crank some on there. Awesome. And we're just gonna let this cook for about 5 minutes, pretty much until the morels are fully cooked and they're a little bit on the soft side. So now our mushrooms have cooked for about 5 minutes. They're nice and soft. They're fully cooked here. Now we're just gonna finish it up with knocking in our fresh herbs here that we just chopped. You don't wanna add the herbs in the beginning because the herbs will turn black and they're really not that attractive that way. They also get bitter tasting if they get overcooked. Then we're gonna do just a little bit of squeeze of some fresh lemon juice. So now that the mushrooms are cooked, you've got the herbs in there, the little squeeze of lemon juice. I like to add just a touch of water. And the water kind of helps to make the sauce here a little bit creamy. You see it's kind of sizzling. And it almost makes like a little sauce in the pan here. And now that your mushrooms are cooked, you're going to want to plate them. What I like to do is make food very simple. So from this basic sauteed mushroom recipe, we can make quite a few other dishes. But one really easy thing to do is just take a nice piece of bruschetta, just a little piece of toasted bread here, and then we're going to just spoon some mushrooms on top. And it just makes a nice little hors d'oeuvre. You could also smear the bruschetta with a little bit of fresh goat cheese or cream cheese if you wanted a little bit on the creamier side. And another thing you could do is add just a touch of cream to the mushrooms and even a little bit of brandy or cognac to give it another flavor. So after you spoon your morel mushrooms onto the toast, just put a couple little teeny sprigs of parsley. The green color just makes it a little bit more visually appealing. And then you might just want to drizzle it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. And there you go. It's ready to enjoy.